Mr. Bederow.
Thank you, Judge.
Honestly, go fuck yourself, sir. You don't say that, okay? You don't lose a trial where a jury acquits someone and finds them overwhelmingly not guilty and say, I gave my sincere obligation to look into this, and I'm telling you all I saw when she's guilty. Again, respectfully, go fuck yourself.
Is that a fair characterization of what you said? Your Honor.
I want to hear objection before I hear a word out of your mouth.
Objection.
Overruled. Sit down. Oh, I said overruled. Sit down.
Swear again like that. That was, no, I mean, whatever. That was, I shouldn't have done that.
A few moments later.
You.
I hear. All right, I think we're there. Oh, God help me.
I hear you.
Oh, you hear me?
I do.
Well, why is it doing a timer? Oh.
No, hello.
Hello, lovies. And hello, Mr. Bederow and Lola.
Okay, you want to get down? She wants to get down.
Well, we had to, sorry, that was probably jarring for everyone. I don't know how to use the computer, and you know this. The desktop betrayed me. We did have a pupper, but what, like outside, look at this. Mr. Bederow is home. Oh my gosh, stop it. Put the, look at the, oh, I can't.
We'll say hello.
Hi, girl. Hi, pretty girl. What it do? What you doing? Is she having the best day? Happy Sunday, lovey.
Well, she's happy I'm home for sure. So she's going to lie down at the feet outside.
Oh, I love it. Okay, how is it? What's the weather in Jersey?
It's nice. It's
gorgeous.
Sunny. It's warm. It's probably going to be 85 or so. Unfortunately, coming back from vacation, it looks like it's going to be in the 90s and humid this week in the city, you know, which is no place you want to be in a suit in the summer.
Not at all.
No.
So speaking of, let's do life update. It's been, I think, 3 weeks since our last Sunday service, and you've been on vacation. I have been, working like a lunatic, and I wanted to know you were in San Diego, you got to see the animals and real ones, not the ones that play on Twitter. How was everything?
Good. We did the whole Southern California tour. We did LA, Anaheim, spent a few days in Laguna, and then ended up in San Diego. So it was, almost 2 weeks. It was fun. Great trip. We did kind of a baseball swing through it. So son loved that. It was a good time.
Oh, that's fun. I can't, and that weather out there, I think that when like Americans think of perfect weather, it is Southern California, right?
In the summer, Southern California is pretty much as good as it gets. It's in the 70s. It's not hot. It's not humid. It's nice breeze. It's I mean, it's just coastal, beautiful. It's never cold, but it's never hot. It's just nice.
It's not too hot, not too cold. It's just right. Lola. And why do I always want to sing to her? Her name was Lola.
Well,
she was a show dog. She's a good girl.
She is.
Yeah. So, okay, with that, I'm glad that you had the best time. You deserved it. I know that you're going to get back to work, and you probably were working the entire time that you were out there, but I like that you at least got to have.
But there are times where, the business goes on. Not always. Vacation should be vacation, but, there's always some stuff to do. But it's a lot easier to work oceanside on a patio or, walking on a beach than it is in a high rise or a busy city. So it's just good for the soul.
Good for the spirit.
Yeah.
And while you were away, the Red Sox, the Boston Red Sox, have maybe turned their frown upside down, Mr. Bederow.
So they could actually go on the All-Star break today in a playoff spot, which would be insane.
Mm-hmm.
They've won 8 in a row. They've won 13 out of 15, but I don't want to be the turd in the punch bowl here, but 8 in a row against the Los Angeles Angels, Chicago White Sox, and New York Mets. is not exactly the creme de la creme. I was happy to witness part of that winning streak. On July 4th, we were in Anaheim watching the Red Sox game against the Angels. That was kind of cool.
Awesome.
Got to Dodger Stadium, got to Petco Park in San Diego, saw the Diamondbacks play, which was good.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of baseball, but the Red Sox, look, it's better than it was, but we'll see. The real difficult thing now is they can't sell. I mean, there's no justification to sell. They're potentially a wild card team or at least one game out at the break. There's no really great teams ahead of them. So how are you going to tell the fans that we're going to just dump Chapman, Sonny Gray, and other desirable pieces? I don't think you can do it.
No, probably not. But I think maybe you should keep hating on them because they do better when you say that there is absolutely nothing interesting about them.
I'm cautiously optimistic, but again, need to see it against better teams. But look, they're winning, they're better, and the reason we get pissed off is because we love them so much. So
Always.
We just hate the ownership and all of that. So, but just enjoy it. They seem to be playing better. They're still missing probably their best player, Roman Anthony, right?
Yeah.
Is probably their best player. They're missing clearly their best starting pitcher, Crochet, and their starting pitching has otherwise been really, really good. They just don't seem to hit much. And so we'll see. We'll have to just at least give us an interesting summer into the fall. Take us into the Patriots season with something to think about.
Could we have a Soxtober? We don't know.
I mean, look, the way the wild card is now with 3 wild card teams and there's 3 divisions. I mean, look, it's not what it used to be, but it's possible. I don't think it's going to happen, but it is possible. I wouldn't have thought it was possible 2 weeks ago.
And look where we are today. Speaking of what we didn't think was possible 2 weeks ago, do you still have the same stance on the World Cup and soccer after seeing this year?
Yes.
Stop it.
It's boring as hell. You try to get into it and, we all pretend that we understand it and we like to use European words. We like to use, nil instead of 0. We like to say the pitch instead of the field. We like to say instead of giving up the first goal, they conceded. Stop it. That's not American. None of it is. It is boring. We wanted the Americans to do well. Yeah, the game was on. I watched it, the game in Seattle where they lost to Belgium. How boring was that? The game was awful. It wasn't really entertaining, and it'll be forgotten again. It's America. There's other things that will be interesting. So some people like it. That's wonderful. I mean, if your thing is watching France and England play in the World Cup in the U.S., then God bless you.
Yeah, I think that it can be really interesting. I've grown to like it. I feel like it, and not necessarily MLS, but like the Premier League and stuff. I think it's a great sport. And, hopefully I think that after though Seattle, it was something in your spirit that I was like, no one's going to watch it again. Everyone was pro soccer for like a couple of weeks. And then everyone was like, oh, F this,
I mean, look, I'm older than you a little bit and some other people who maybe are watching, but this happened in 1994. Now it was a little different. The Americans were even worse than, they were supposed to be credible, I guess, this year in terms of not that they win. And it came here in 94 and everybody said, oh, soccer. And then it comes and it goes. The soccer leagues here are not that interesting. Can you name one player on the New England Revolution? I can't, not one. Because I don't care. It's boring. And, you have football, basketball, baseball, hockey, individual sports, as some people like. There's just.
Do you do golf?
No, I don't watch golf either. You know, a lot of people like to. It makes for a wonderful background, like on a
Yeah.
Sunday afternoon, if you're entertaining,
Yes.
or the little clapping and the this and that. But
I
in
like
terms,
hearing the swing. Is that weird? Like the slice of the swing? I love to
yeah,
hear that.
sure, yeah, it's. But beyond that, golf. I should be more into golf than I am, but I never was big into golf either.
Yeah. Okay. And the other thing I just wanted to ask you about was that you made an announcement on Twitter, and I wanted an update if you had any regarding you, being admitted to the bar and starting something out in Arizona or going
Yeah,
for
well,
that.
approved for admission. I have
Approved
it,
for it.
it's logistics. I'm waiting on an official date where it's official. But yeah, no, it's done. It's just a matter of all the forms are in, all the checks have been written, all the approvals have been made. It's just a matter of whenever the bureaucrats stamp the paper and blah blah blah. But yeah, no. So I will. That'll be my third state to be admitted to, and I absolutely will aggressively look to generate out there. So I will go out there, as needed and as desired. It's an easy place for me to want to go.
Yeah.
So if there are Arizona needs that slot into what I do, I'll certainly be available to do that. Hoping to get involved in a very big case that's pending out there right now, but need a few little things to get ducks in a row before that happens. But that would be very interesting, clearly. And so if you have Arizona legal needs that slot in, we can talk, but not yet. I'm not literally admitted yet. Soon. Could be any day. Could be tomorrow. Could be a week, couple weeks. Shouldn't be much more than that, though.
That's awesome. That's very exciting. Congratulations, Mr. Bederow.
Yeah. I'm not, by the way, I'm not like abandoning New York.
No,
and whatnot,
of course not.
Just, yeah.
Expanding the practice is incredible, though, and being able to, and if there's big cases, like I know that there's method to the madness, so obviously it all makes sense. And Lola says Arizona or bust. Okay.
Yeah, Lola's. I don't see Lola hopping on a plane for 4.5 hours. She's not. She's kind of a skittish girl anyway. So Lola will. Keep the New York, New Jersey fort down.
That's awesome. Does she? How long would it be to? Just because I don't know geography to save my soul. I know where they're located, so don't F with me, Chad. But like, how long would it take to drive from
to Arizona?
Yeah.
Long. I mean, I've driven from Arizona to Boston when I was in college.
Mm-hmm.
I've driven from Arizona to Florida. It's far. If you were to drive from the Northeast to Arizona, it's going to take you, even if you tried to go nonstop, it will take you over a day. I mean, when I did it, you would go through, what did I do? You go to like Phoenix, up to Flagstaff, over through Albuquerque, then towards Oklahoma City, and the corner of Arkansas, Missouri, St. Louis. You just keep going and going through Pennsylvania. It takes forever. It's a long trip.
Oh, look at someone said maybe this is right. 40. Is it? You think 40 hours?
It's not that long if you go nonstop, which, of course, at this stage of life, I don't think I would do that. I mean, driving back one time, I pretty much went close to one, without stopping overnight, taking little breaks. But, there's, when you're 23 and you do that, is a lot different 30 years later. I wouldn't even try that again.
Yeah, for sure. When I was little, me, my mom, and my brother Tommy, we went cross country from Boston to California.
Yeah.
And it took us, my mom would do, I remember, like, this is back in the olden days with like AAA tickets, like triptychs.
The triptych. They would take the highlighter and send you a map. Yeah.
And so it was my mother in the front seat driving, Tommy was co-pilot, and I'm in the back of a Mustang, 95 Mustang. And I'm like, what do we do? Who had this car? It was insane. There was corn for days, Mr. Bederow. I remember going to the Baseball Hall of Fame and corn. Okay. I was like, corn, like corned out.
Is nice. Yeah. Cooperstown is nice.
Yeah. Yeah, but it took us, she did, like I said, 500 miles a day. And every night with the AAA, like from the triptych, you could pick a hotel. And I always said, Mom, I want a hotel with a pool.
Yeah, 500 miles on a trip like that is not enough. You've got to just keep going. Yeah.
But I was like 7. I mean, I don't know how far she could have gone with me. I was just taking naps in the back of a Mustang. Okay. I don't know. Yeah, it all made sense at the time. Thanks, Jed. Thanks, Noni. So yeah, that's funny. I just wanted that update. And then this morning, kind of random news before we get into our other things, I like to ask you takes on current events. Rest in peace to Lindsey Graham, Senator Lindsey Graham, who passed away unexpectedly after a brief illness, allegedly. And like he was 71. I don't know about any like pre-existing comorbidities or anything that was going on with him medically, but like, is it weird or is it not weird? Like the timing of this, that like, didn't he just get home like quite literally hours before from Russia?
I think he was in Ukraine, but same idea. Yeah, I think anytime a prominent public official who is 71, which in today's political dog years is like a child, right? They're all 90 and 80 and who by all accounts was healthy and goes to a part of the world where there's a lot of conflict and everyone always wonders about Russian schemes to poison and do things, and he comes home. Someone just put poison on the screen. He comes home and dies immediately. That's troubling.
Yeah.
I mean, could be natural. You don't know. Could be any number of things, but it's certainly, you can't just dismiss that kind of stuff. But I think anytime any prominent person just drops dead is, very difficult. But the current state of the country, you know how it is. Half the people are going to cheer and laugh the same way they do about, McConnell, who's probably dead or not. And we've seen it in the other direction too. I mean, you've seen Trump make these terrible statements about who was it, Mueller, when he died several months ago. I mean, so it's the current political climate where really for the first time in your lifetime, it's close to 50% of the population cheers anytime someone who is identified as a partisan dies. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's sad. It's just very sad to me that that's the state of affairs, because you would always want there to be compassion, understanding, and especially the loss of anyone. Like it's just it's very unfortunate and kind of sickening if you think about it, but neither here nor there. I also did think, though, if there is like a flight or a long, when you take flights like that, you are at higher risk for like a heart attack or a blood clot or something, with advanced age or something. I don't know. So could be natural, like you're saying, but I just was like, holy, it just makes you think when you know the history of specific political regimes, etc.
Yeah, no, people have died from poisoning through like, Putin type schemes. Again, may or may not be the case. Don't want to get all conspiratorial without
putting a tinfoil hat on. Yes,
without any evidence, but it's unexpected. So you think about those things.
Absolutely. All right. So to the main event, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Lovies, thank you for being here. We'll timestamp it at 18 minutes and 57 seconds when we get into the meat and potatoes. Because some people say, oh, God, why you have to do small talk? Because he's my friend. And when my friend comes over, we chit chat for a minute. Okay. And now let's go. So there has been a lot happening while you were on vacation. And do I want to pick your brain on all of it, generally speaking, because that's what we do here, is generally speaking. Yes. Judge Gilday, as he's known, not Gilda or Gildea, it's Gilday, has had a couple of hearings in Karen Reed versus Ham, or the Higgins Albert McCabe's. There has been so much information that has come forward regarding Karen Reed's case versus Mass State Police and Canton Police Department that your head could spin. Stuff comes out every single day. And I have just a few things I want to touch on. First and foremost, if I, Kimberly Jean, were going to enlist in the military and I had been subpoenaed for a deposition, I went to basic training, what would happen, or what do you think like nuanced or typically would happen if you were in basic training and subpoenaed for a deposition, Mr. Bederow?
Well, again, let's be clear. This is a general question
General.
about people in general.
All
And
people.
there's an obvious one that people are interested in that I'm not going to address specifically.
Mhm.
All I can tell you is, when you join the Army or any military service branch, you commit. And from their end, they want to know, are you in? Are you committing? So it's natural for them to want to know about your upcoming commitments in life and whether you are doing this and you're with us. And certainly it would be very interesting for anyone who's applying for military service. If you are a litigant in any kind of civil or criminal case, or a witness, a necessary witness in any criminal case, it would behoove such a person to notify them. Now, I don't know what the questionnaire or the applications are that they use these days, but the individual that you're obviously interested in, and if you have a situation where someone is a named plaintiff in a civil lawsuit, and a couple of months later, during the discovery phase of that case, says, "Oh, I'm going to go to join the Army and be gone for however many months." I'd want to know from the Army side in advance whether that's happening, and I would want the person seeking to join to disclose that. As far as whether that happens or not, who's to say? But when you join the Army, you join the Army. However, when there is a subpoena in a court of law, they are binding. There are different rules for subpoenas that can get complicated. In any case, a state subpoena only is valid, in that state. If you have somebody who is located out of state, you would have to take the originating state subpoena, get that submitted to a court in the receiving state, if you will, where the person is located, and get that judge to approve it. It can get complicated. If the person is located in federal property, like a military base, it can get very complicated. But as far as what the Army will do or not do, you're talking about people who voluntarily join the Army while they are voluntarily pursuing litigation. That can get really messy. Now, what gets also tricky is if somebody is a witness in other cases, criminal cases, civil cases. When you have people who could be either a litigant or a witness in as many as 3, 4, 5 criminal and civil cases, and who is presumably in basic training and then would be in active duty in a military service, that's messy.
Yeah.
And if there are discovery deadlines and whatnot, that's messy.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Do you think that there is nuance with anything that would be somebody being a party to it versus like a witness, like you were saying, like a fact witness or something in the specific case in which they are being deposed?
Well, I think there's certainly a distinction. Anybody can be subject to a subpoena,
right?
Because the party in a case deems you a witness. That can be kind of beyond your control. If I tomorrow decide to go join the Navy, which I have no intent of doing, but if I did, and somebody tried to serve me with a subpoena, in 3 weeks, that's beyond my control. And I mean, it has to be dealt with militarily, but that's beyond my control. But if I am, for example, tomorrow I sue you for defamation, okay, and then decide 2 weeks later I'm gonna just take off and join a military branch, but I started a lawsuit, which ultimately is going to lead to a very tight discovery schedule, which would include depositions and have to be concluded by a certain date. And if I'm a plaintiff in that case and I'm unavailable, that's different than, well, I'm a witness, what do you want from me? Now, again, the cases that you're all interested in that I'm not talking about, I think the case that they're fighting over, this issue, it's a witness, not a litigant.
Mm-hmm.
But those cases are all so interspersed and inextricably interwoven that it's just it's difficult and messy. But there are other cases where if somebody is a litigant, they're going to have to be available. I mean, you can't prejudice the other side of a litigation that you brought because you say you're unavailable, right?
Yeah. No, that's so true. And I think that like another huge portion of this is the date of which you signed up, right? Like the date in which you signed up in juxtaposition to the date in which the subpoena came. Did you sign up and then get subpoenaed, or did you get subpoenaed and then sign up? Because I don't know if there was clarification on that.
In any situation, the timeline in that event would matter. And if there were to be a deposition or other forms of documentary discovery, that's something that if somebody was being denied access to a witness or litigant because they're in the military, they would definitely want to discover the timeline, because that timeline could impact, what's going on here in any particular situation. In terms of, people join the Army all the time. It's an honorable thing to do.
Right.
But if somebody believes that somebody is joining the military to, run away from testifying in cases, that's certainly something different than just joining the Army.
I'm gonna have to make Lola a co-host for today. Okay, she's our co-host.
She's a good girl, right?
She's
girl?
the best.
I know. She says, "Okay, I'll stand up. You want to come up?
Go up. Go with Dad.
All right, there we go. There we go.
Stop it, Lola. Hi.
She doesn't look very.
What are you doing?
What's the matter? You don't want to
What
get
are
up?
you doing?
I don't know.
Down. She's up, she's down, she's all over town. She doesn't know what. She's a typical woman. She's like, what do I want? I don't know.
And she's everywhere.
She's shedding.
Listen, that's part of the deal. That's part of the deal with dogs. At least most breeds. They go everywhere with you.
Absolutely.
Anyway.
For sure. So, well, she's distracting because she's so freaking beautiful. I can't help it. I want to look at her and I want to take her. She's a good girl.
She is a good girl.
So I totally agree on that. And then the other thing I was wondering, because Mr. Bederow, this hasn't like come across, I've never, or I don't recall hearing about something similar to this that I've ever followed. Does the military in certain circumstances, which I could Google this, I suppose, but like, would they be able to do it like virtually in any way if they weren't able to a video deposition versus in person because you are in basic?
I mean, I can't speak to what the military would do or not do.
Yeah.
In terms of virtual or not. Look, there's bases all over the place.
Yeah.
If somebody was on a military base in Alaska, what are they going to do? Fly to Massachusetts or New York or Florida to give a deposition? That would be funny. Who is this Goldiefish idiot? I'm looking over. Nobody has dirt on me, idiot. But have a nice day.
Yep. Bye-bye. They're gone. Sorry. I banned them. I didn't even see that. I apologize.
I don't care. I just happen to look over there and they're really trying because it's like 5 in a row.
Yeah. Well, that's sad individuals and sad lives.
Oh my God.
Weird.
They like,
So weird.
some people get really triggered by, you go to a baseball game with your son and you're proud to share moments with friends and family and show
Yeah.
it, what you're doing, and they get so upset. It's
Ew.
weird.
Like,
People
they're
on, like, yeah, the incels and weirdos online, they just get so angry. Anyway,
Yeah, that is, also, like, just get away. Ew, all of them, in my opinion. If you don't like it, don't watch, or if you don't want to see it, don't look. Like, ew, your opinion doesn't matter. And you're also weirdos.
I can't fathom spending my life
Yeah.
hiding behind an anonymous Twitter account and looking online to negative comment on people sharing with friends and family and others who are interested in their lives happy moments. I mean, you really have to be a miserable, ugly person to do that.
Yeah, agreed. 10 toes down, we stand on that. So I just Googled it, Mr. Bederow, and it says that the virtual or on-base depositions, the military's judge advocate general is JAG. I knew what JAG, there wasn't there an old time show called JAG? Oh, okay.
In the 90s.
JAGs.
2000s.
And they recruit a chain of command will often coordinate with the civilian attorneys to arrange a deposition to take place virtually or at a secure location on a base. It's just available.
You don't want them disappearing if they're in the military. And also, again, they can be located in Timbuktu. And, the idea of traveling cross country, it just makes them unavailable for a longer time. So, I mean, look, they let presidents use Zoom, right? They have secure ways of doing it. It's, yeah.
But this is interesting too, though. It says if a recruit simply, which is good, I'm glad we looked this up. If a recruit simply ignores a validly served subpoena, they can be held in contempt of court, just like any other civilian. I didn't know there was any
you don't get a pass because you're in the Army from civil responsibilities. I mean, it gets more complicated again, but you have to comply. You have to notify your chain of command, and it gets dealt with. I mean, I represent people in the military all the time.
Yeah,
and they have to constantly provide updates and documentation. I mean, even a couple of weeks ago, I represented a young woman in the Navy who came to New York and brought a weapon, didn't know she couldn't, and it turned into a whole thing. But, had to go back to Virginia, where most of the Navy people are, who would come up to New York. And all the time, the COs, and they want to know what's going on. Tell us this, tell us that. I mean, it's normal. I mean, that anybody who is in charge of people in the military that have responsibilities in civil or criminal litigation, or they're not exempt from it. They just have to notify the chain of command, and it gets dealt with.
Coordinate. Absolutely. So that's interesting. I think that I will continue to watch that and just see where it goes from here. Additionally, there is a lot going on with broad strokes of, I would say, oh God, make this general, Kim. Another individual that went in for a deposition and sat for approximately 4.5 hours. At which time they may have had a medical situation and they were unable to continue with their deposition. This has caused a lot of uproar, Mr. Bederow, and there have been motions back and forth regarding a motion to continue this, or if it will be denied, and the judge ended up denying it, and now there's another opposition that has been filed. It is wild, but I did want to say that there was one quote from the opposition from yesterday that was kind of interesting. It said that although this person sat for 4 hours and 30 minutes, that counsel spent much time of the deposition questioning that Mr. Proctor about various text messages published that is with our lawsuit and pending against Canton Police Department and Mass State Police. And it wasn't about the case in which a wrongful death suit was filed, and there was not one single question asked about the investigation into Officer John O'Keefe's death, or a single question about Proctor's investigation into Ms. Reed's involvement into that death.
So obviously, I'm not going to speak specifically about any of that, but if you go back to generalities, when you have an important witness,
Right.
of a lead detective,
A lead detective, yes.
who, has a lot of credibility issues, and there are allegations of corruption and planting evidence and having actual biases against the person in the case and other people. You take a witness like that, the first thing you have to start with is you said the deposition didn't finish. So you can't draw any conclusions if it's not even half done about, any lawyer who's asking the questions is going to have their own way and methodology of how to ask the questions. And the person you're talking about, I'm going to have a strong confidence in who the examining attorney probably was.
Mm-hmm.
Knows how to do these kinds of things. And like most skilled lawyers and ex-prosecutor types, there is a buildup. You don't just come out and just club someone over the head and say, did you plan evidence?
Right.
And there are different reasons for that. But also, a lead investigator's credibility is critical. And if there are allegations, again, of not just being not credible, meaning, you have a criminal record, that could be discrediting. You stole something, that is dishonest, that can be discrediting. But any sophisticated lawyer would tell you that the best kind of discrediting information that anyone could ever have on a police officer who is the lead investigator would be some combination of actual bias against the person that you investigated. Okay.
Yeah.
Actual proof of bias against other people in other investigations based on race, color, creed, sexual orientation, whatever. Evidence of messages related to planting evidence and things of that nature that you would want to ask about. So if somebody was setting up an examination, I agree entirely with a methodology of questioning that would build up to establishing bias and discrediting a witness before getting into the specifics of what you did in this case, in terms of whether it's planting evidence or other investigative steps that, not taking photos or diddling with evidence or whatever. Again, it can be in any case. It doesn't have to be this one. It's a general concept. So
Right.
I haven't read the submission you're talking about. I mean, I was on an airplane most of the day yesterday, but to say that there were no questions about this and it only related to another lawsuit, given what you're talking about, you're reaching a conclusion in a book that's 10 chapters and you've only read through chapter 3 and you're saying what the conclusion is. You can't do that. It's too early, premature, right? So I don't put much stock into any of that. Obviously, in the case that you're talking about, there's a lot of back and forth about, and people have strong views, which I'm not going to get into one way or the other about certain witnesses and whether they're being protected or unfairly treated or whatever. The only thing I can tell you generally is, people often use words that they don't fully understand the meaning. I'm not talking about judges and lawyers, but just kind of like a lot of the commentators. And one of the words you often hear used when you talk about stuff that comes out publicly are leaks, and like the use of the word leak or whatnot. A party can leak information. Like if something is under impoundment or not, or a court orders somebody not to disclose someone and somebody discloses that improperly, that's a leak. That's not proper. But when you get other sources of people who are unaffiliated and not bound by any order of any court in any particular situation, if that is in any particular situation that happens and they reveal it to someone else who then publishes it, that can be unfortunate for the person who's the subject of that. It can be very concerning to the lawyers and judge who are involved, because the idea of impounding information is to keep it for whatever purpose under wraps. But you can't silence people who are not subject to the jurisdiction of the court. So if that's a situation that happens, you as unfortunate as it may be, you can't necessarily blame the litigant or litigants for what happened. Now,
yeah, and both sides too, right? Like wherever it came from, like you wouldn't be able to, because they're not subject to it if it got out, because it's not the people who posted it that is bound to what was ordered by the court, correct?
Yeah, I mean, you could take, again, the hypothetical applies to anything. There could be a huge case in, Middlesex County, Massachusetts. Yep. Just making that up because I think we're both from there. Yes. There could be a huge case going on there that you cover or have interest in, but that you have no direct involvement in any capacity at all. But you're covering it, and you talk about it. And so you're not subject to any court orders or impoundment orders. And if somebody knows something interesting about the case, about matters which are under impoundment, that just means that the litigants and the people involved in the case can't do anything with it. But if somebody else has the information and says, I'm going to call Kim and tell her, and then you publish it, that's not a leak. That's just you finding out information from a source and reporting it. Again, that may be unfortunate for the people who benefited from the impoundment or who wanted information not to be public. And it's very common for judges and lawyers and people involved, witnesses and whoever, who don't want information about them to be public. I mean, that's normal and understandable, but there's a difference between that and having a totally uninvolved person tell someone else not subject to an order who then disseminates it. It may be regrettable, but it's not the violation of any order.
Right. And not to get specific, but I would say, no, not specifics. I'm just talking about like me specifics, that information that was posted was also sent to me. Like I didn't check my DMs, so I didn't see it. So it's like, these don't come from the, like you were saying, it didn't, I don't think that you can hold others accountable in public areas. And that's a huge place as well, that I think it really needs to be known, is that when there is bringing up tweets from people, generally speaking, or stating that this information has come to light, well, it's a public hallway. If somebody's sitting in a public hallway, Mr. Bederow, if I'm sitting in a public hallway, anyone could take a picture of me, right? So it doesn't matter what are you protecting from when other people's First Amendment rights matter as well?
Again, using your hypothetical, but not the specifics of the situation. Yeah. Anybody sitting in a public hallway of a large public building in a large city has no reasonable expectation of privacy, whether that be from passersby. If you're a prominent public figure, it happens to them all the time. They get their picture taken. If you're in a large building, they're going to have surveillance, security cameras. There's going to be any number of ways that you could be seen. there's just no way to do that. Now, also, as you know, court proceedings are presumed public as well.
Yes.
But all of this is still a very different issue. Again, you could have a judge and lawyers who agree that certain materials should be sealed, which in Massachusetts is basically impounded, whatever. Same concept. That's fine. But no judge in the United States has the authority to basically say, I'm issuing an order in, the case of, Dr. Seuss versus the Grinch, that no one on the planet Earth shall discuss this or say anything. First of all, that would be overbroad. It would be no jurisdiction. It would violate the First Amendment and probably numerous other things. But a court order can only bind people that are subject to the jurisdiction of the order.
Right.
So, again, to go back to your example of, if there was a prominent case in Middlesex County, and somebody sent you information that a very important person in that case was seen doing this and are saying something that would otherwise be subject to a protective order. If some person not subject to that tells another person not subject to that, and the person they're telling is in the business and habit of disseminating information on a matter of public concern, there's nothing to be done. There's no business of the court or the lawyers other than frustration. And I mean, every lawyer's been there. Stuff that is sealed for whatever reason, in any case, a judge has determined it ought to be sealed, and the parties and the litigants have to follow the order of the court. It would be a violation not to. Now, when you have cases in which somebody accuses a litigant of being the source of that, you better be able to back that up, because that's a bold statement. Okay, that's accusing someone who absolutely is not permitted to share information, and to do so in violation of an order of impoundment or a sealing order. That would be a very serious ethical violation.
Very serious, yes. And I think that there has been, well, generally speaking, that there is a firm report on both sides that there is no lead. Do you know what I mean? Like that we didn't do this, so put up or shut up, if that makes sense, right? You better make sure that you have proof of that before alleging something, because then is that not also perpetuating a narrative of some sort of underhanded or unlawful prejudice that you're putting again upon the other party if you keep alleging that?
Look, I mean, again, speaking generally, because I've got nothing to say about what I mean. I know what you're referring to, and I'm not doing that. But, if you have any situation where there is a witness, controversial or not, whatever, who, and some of this is public, so it is what it is, who wants a delay from being deposed under oath for some kind of medical reason, everyone would agree that generally that's the kind of thing that generally gets put under seal or impounded. The public doesn't need to know everybody's physical or mental health business, if you will. There are always things that just don't literally have to be made public. And so anyone would agree that's proper to be sealed, impounded, or whatever. But if it gets out because either people close to that person that are not subject to the order release it, or somebody is walking by and overhears it in a public space and then tells someone who's known for disseminating information on matters of public concern, that's not a violation of anything. That's American journalism. That's how it works. It can be unfortunate. I mean, reporters by nature can be very annoying people. People who disseminate information on matters of public concern can be very annoying people. And until you got into the, the world of these cases that we're all discussing on some level in Massachusetts, we deal with this every day, all day, and particularly in New York. I mean, the media in New York, people, is 10,000 times the size of the media in Boston. The reporters are much more aggressive. They'll, the New York Post will show up and sabotage you and photograph you anywhere. But the point is, we all seem to get along with it, and you deal with it. You hope. There are times you have cases that are public cases, and you're like, God, I hope the New York Post doesn't find out about this. Just because there are times you don't want stuff to be in the media, but you can't control it, right? They're not bound by anything, and these proceedings are public. So there's a balance here, but in any given situation, if the people not subject to any court orders are making things difficult for the people and information that are subject to court orders, it's not a legal issue. It may be a regrettable issue, but it's not a legal issue.
And we could maybe make, I think there should be maybe a campaign moving forward of annoying, not illegal, right? That is a journalism, annoying, not illegal. And
I think also on that point, and then, I mean, again, this is a general observation. Again, reporters generally, I'm not, of all types. You could be a television reporter, you could be a New York Post reporter, you could be a Boston Globe reporter, you could be an online commentator. You are protected, by the First Amendment. And when you're covering matters of public concern, they can get more aggressive to gather information.
of course.
And a lot of times you see people conflate aggressiveness or obnoxiousness with, some sort of illegality, and one does not necessarily translate to the other. In fact, historically, some of the best reporters that I've seen and others have dealt with, and famous ones that you've seen, they're in your business because that's why they get scoops and stories and information. And that's kind of the way journalism is. And reporters are not generally popular people because they annoy the hell out of people. They've annoyed me. I'm sure they've annoyed you. There's no question in these cases that people follow, they're not happy with a lot of it. But that does not equal illegality. You need more to do that, to get to that level. But there's a lot of conflating in, aggressive, obnoxious equals illegal. Those are totally separate analyses.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that there is something to be said, Mr. Bederow, about, for me, the reporting and just generally speaking, is that when we see the request for dignity or the request for privacy in public areas for some, but these rights or wishes were not afforded to Karen Reed, and I'm just saying, or to any other woman, to Sandra Birchmore, to whatever. I'm just for women, not just women and men, that maybe their medical information, their private medical records had been released in public, whether it's a group chat with 9 of your best friends from first grade or to other people like your supervisors looking for nudes. I mean, like, there's so many different ways in which you can see violations. Unfortunate that you say, well, this should have never happened. There is, and how that disseminated to larger groups of people from the initial where it goes. And then it's like, told it to a friend who told it to a friend who. There is a job, like I'm saying with police officers, you shouldn't be doing things like that, for example. But when it's just coming out, or you have a source from someone who just knows something or sees something in a public building, that's different because it's ethical versus legal versus just gossip, right? Or just something that you see publicly that is 100% your right to discuss if you so choose.
Yeah, I mean, look, America is, the land of the free. There's a Bill of Rights that were when they were making a constitution, that part of the negotiation here to get that to pass was we need to make sure we have these first 10 amendments, which everyone calls the Bill of Rights, that are specifically designed to protect individual freedom. And the very first right that they put forth is what's contained in the First Amendment. There's a reason why the First Amendment is first. And, if you go back to the historical context, you couldn't speak out against the king and these kinds of things, and they wanted to break free. And there's nothing more American than speaking out and speaking your mind. You can say things here that if you were in the middle of Iran, you would be dead within a week. That's just the way it is. If you were in China or other places, you can't do it. And for better or for worse, sometimes for worse, when you see some of the back and forth online, right? But you have a right to do it as long as you're not otherwise doing things that may be deemed criminal. But
Right.
have a right to offend even in what you do when you Nazis are allowed to march. Okay.
Yep.
That's offensive. The Westboro church people, they're the worst people in the world, but they have a right to do it. They have a right to be an asshole, right?
Yeah.
You have aggressive reporters who have a right to say things. And I mean, and you can criticize. I mean, one of the things you saw in New York several weeks ago, if you follow, the Mangione thing, you had some of his kind of fan club got press passes, okay, which is a commentary perhaps on the current state of the city of New York than anything else. But they got press passes and sat in, showed them off like they were Wonka golden tickets. Look at me, I got it. And then we're spewing outside of court talking about how, it's okay that the guy got killed and shot in the back. His kids are better off for it. It's too bad for them, but, their father was a bad guy and this and that. And you know what? These people were ridiculous, but they had a right to say it, right? They have a right to make fools of themselves. They don't get arrested for it. And I'm sure what they said would be very offensive to the kids of a man who was shot in the back, but for the fact that he was the CEO of a healthcare company, which I get it. A lot of people don't like large healthcare, but you could imagine that was, offensive speech, if you will, in the form of journalism by these so-called journalists, these three people who were giving this impromptu press conference outside of court. The answer is not to arrest them or do anything other than counter their stupid speech with other speech, calling them stupid and ignorant. I mean, that's the marketplace of ideas, right? If you go way back, I think it was Brandeis, right? I could be conflating my judges, but I think it was Brandeis who talked about, the First Amendment and the marketplace of ideas and the public street and whatnot. And courtrooms and court proceedings are the quintessential public street.
Yeah, and I that's that old principle of, free speech doesn't matter to those who we agree with. It is the speech that we disagree with that we should protect the most, right? Because though it's just our exchange of ideas. It's the set in which our country, like you're saying, it's the principle of our foundation.
You're right. And if you look at any famous First Amendment cases, whether it doesn't have to be reporting, the reason why they're famous cases and work their way up, usually federal courts, is because people were offended. I mean, they wouldn't be fighting about it if it wasn't offensive. So for better or for worse, America is founded on, your right to speak out on matters of public concern and matters that involve the government. I mean, America is the quintessential protest place. I mean, again, come to New York, people. There is a protest going on every day, every hour, every minute, every second about something. Okay. It doesn't, we can find you one all the time. And some of it is pretty annoying. Some of it's pretty offensive. It's what it is.
Yeah. It is what it is, and you have a right to say it, and you have a right to do it.
Go down the streets again in New York and ask any NYPD officer about what they get called and what they hear every day about people expressing their right to share their views of the police. And what they don't do is they don't arrest people for being assholes. They don't. And a lot of people say a lot of disrespectful things to cops all the time, but that's not criminal.
No.
And it is offensive. I'm sure it hurts their feelings.
Of course.
But the words themselves without more, they're not actionable.
Not actionable. With that being said, you are not jet lagged, or you weren't an hour ago, but is it time?
Yeah, no, I don't get jet lag because I get up early anyway.
I can't believe you were up at 7 a.m. our time, which would have been quite literally 4 a.m. after you did a, like, what is that called? A red eye flight?
No, it wasn't a red eye flight. I mean, it's a 5.5 hour flight, but it just adds 3 hours, because you're coming
the back end
from Pacific time, and you get home late. But I don't.
You went back to the future.
I went back to the future. I got some great. I always like the window seat. I'm big on like airplane photos. And I've got some just like sunset photos over Detroit last night. Some Grand Canyon. We flew over the Grand Canyon. And maybe I'll trigger my friends and show them these photos so they can claim I have nothing better to do than Twitter my life showing people fascinating photos.
How could you do that? How could you ever, when you're traveling and living your life, share things? I mean, sick. What kind of weirdo are you? Okay. So I have a question for you because I talked about this the other day, and very random. Sorry, I'm ADDing. Can you do multiple legs of flights, or are you a direct only?
I don't do switching.
I can't switch. I can't do it.
If there are times that it has to be done, I've done it. When I'm kind of a travel snob, I need no, I'd like to go in a certain way if I can. But I don't want to switch planes. I don't want layovers. Hey, look, it happens. I get it, but
I can't do it for anxiety, Mr. Bederow. I can't. I go up and down once. I am not a good flyer. I have to be window seat. I have to like white knuckle through the whole thing. I have a thing that I learned from a pilot. One of my neighbors a long time ago, his name was Neil. He was a JetBlue pilot. And he told me, Kim, he's like, stop being a weirdo. You're not going to die likely when you're flying. And I was like, yeah, but I actually am.
Likely? That's encouraging. You probably won't. Yeah.
Probably won't. You're not going to. But he said to me, the only time that you are at risk, because I used to be like sickening, like really unwell, physically unwell. He would say, first 5, last 5. Right? Because takeoff and landing, that's the only time. He goes, once you're up in the air, Kim, it doesn't matter. You can drop, you can have turbulence. You can once you're up there, that little plane can do its thing. It's only ascent and descent, first 5, last 5.
Because it's pretty much the only time the pilots have to do anything. I mean,
they're in control.
Otherwise, George, the automatic pilot, from Airplane, is running the show. Yeah, no, I don't like switching planes or anything like that. I try to avoid it as much as possible.
Yeah, I'm not I'm sorry. I'm not independently wealthy. I'm not a fancy lady, but I only can do the direct flight because I'm not doing it again. Like, there is not a chance in hell that if I'm diverted or if we go somewhere else, I'm driving the rest of the way. I'll take the boat, for Christ's sake.
I mean, when a few months ago, was it the trip before? No, a few months ago, when my son and I went to Phoenix, we, on the way back, the only flight we could get was we had to leave early from Phoenix and fly to LAX and switch planes. So to go like 45 minutes to an hour in the wrong direction.
No,
that was a disaster.
No. Yeah. It's a firm no. Hi, it's a firm no for me. I'd be like this. That's it. Wasn't meant to be. Not doing it. Driving home. Yeah. Okay. Which, like, it's abnormal.
We're driving home from Phoenix or LA. So what are you gonna do?
It could have been an adventure. It could have been boys trip USA. All right. Anywho, do you need a cup? This is where we were going here. Do we need a Zabar's break? Do you need a cup of coffee or a drink?
Yes, something. Probably water.
Okay.
I'm cutting down. This is actually iced coffee today. Not bad. But yeah, let me go get some water.
All right, and we'll be right back. Right. Intermission, lovies. Zabar's coffee, a Diet Coke, or Piddle, if you will. We'll be right back after a word from our non-consensual sponsors and a terrible, terrible AI song that I love. All right, I'm sorry. I know you hate it. Ernie Birdie, what is happening? That's a question I ask myself every day. I don't know what's happening. Okay, couldn't freaking tell you. But I did get up for a little stretch break. Oh, hi, Mr. Bederow.
Hello.
What we got? What are you nibbling on? Lunch nibble.
I mean, I eat much healthier now, but my little cheat snacks are these Dot pretzels. Have you had these?
No, show it to me.
They're down the hatch. I can't show you.
They're in your gullet right now. Wonderful. Mm-hmm. Dot pretzels. Are they dipped in anything?
They have different flavors. Yeah, they have.
I love a dip.
They're really good.
Okay. Well, what brand is it? Schneider's.
It's Dots. It just
Dots?
Stick to a serving though, because they can. That adds up.
So you're eating much better. You're looking like are you still doing your umpteen miles a day walking?
I am. Although it's more fun to do that on the beach, like walking in the ocean. But it wasn't too bad for the trip. Anytime you go away, you know how it is. The discipline goes out the door. Yeah. And I had, multiple trips to In-N-Out, which of course is, 1,500 calories, boom, per meal right there. Heavy steak dinners and all that. And yesterday we got a firm recommendation. And if people are from Southern California, a friend said, if you like Mexican food, which I do, like authentic, greasy, you need to go to this place called Juanita's in Encinitas, California, which is San Diego, basically. So we schlepped up there yesterday and had like just greasy, wonderful burritos, right before taking a cross-country flight. Real smart. Not really. But so yeah, not too bad with all the junk food. So, walking around out there as much as you just balance it out and you manage. The calories come in, but the calories come off too, and it's not that bad. And then you just get back to it.
And there you
go. The journey continues. Yeah.
You know what's so funny? Last time we were talking, or one of the times before, you were saying about you freaking, I can't imagine, like, listen, I know you, and I can't imagine you actually measuring out your wine, your vino, and you're doing it. Oh.
Well, not on vacation. The only thing you're measuring out on vacation is like, another one.
Yeah.
Or even on the airplane. Do you want to refill? Sure. No, at home, I take out the liquid measuring cup, the whole bit, and
so
6 ounces.
So, he's such a, well, I like it. I like that you're very disciplined. That's what it shows. And what are you down, not to be fresh, but what are you down now total?
Oh, I don't know.
You just know, like, via how you like feel in clothes or look in clothes.
That's not true. I do know, but I mean, come on, that up a little.
Say it.
What?
It's exciting. Say it.
When I started this time, I don't know, maybe 23, 24.
He's like 23.8. Actually, I weighed myself this morning.
Well, no. What I do, good or bad, as soon as I get home after like a heavy eating vacation, I weigh and I take the bad or good, and there was gain, but not that bad. So again, the walks on the beach and those kinds of things, they do help.
I love it. I'm gonna do. I was trying to do like a walk-in Wednesdays, a thing, and like I go for a walk. I live right on there's a little lake. I should go walking every day, but I live on this. I do
walking and jogging, like intermittent. I'm not a health expert, but a lot of the experts that I've seen say too much running is actually not as good for what you're trying to do as walking, for reasons that I don't fully understand. But anyway.
Well, it makes sense though, right, Mr. Bederow? You don't want to run because most people are not.
You burn the protein up or instead of the fat, or I don't know.
Well, no, and also for your joints, think about your bones, right? Is that if you're not in the perfect alignment for running, okay, you are quite literally putting additional like poundage and stress and strain, and you can have stretch fractures. As soon as we're getting older, we have less calcium in our bones. So there are specific ways that, runners know what they're doing if you're professional, but that too, you don't want to have any muscle wasting. So just keep walking. If you're a power walker, you remember back in the olden days when you used to see like a gaggle of 55-year-old women just power walking the shit out of a neighborhood.
Or they would
be alive.
Yeah, well, they would kick the mall doors down at like 7:30 a.m. and
10 out of 10.
Back when they had malls,
yeah. I still go to the mall. I was at the mall the other day.
Really?
Do you go to the mall?
Not generally, but we went in California where we were staying was right next to the giant Westfield Mall or Westgate, whatever it's called, in Century City, Beverly Hills, which is nice because it's mostly like outside, and because out there you can do that, right? And we went to the Grove, which is the famous outdoor one out there. But out here, malls are a dying thing. Having said that, I need to go to the tailor later today, so we'll be at the mall when this is over. But malls are, unless there's like an Apple store or something, a mall can't survive. You need those kinds of stores to bring in the traffic.
Oh, what was that? A bee?
That was a dreaded baby lantern fly, which, it's coming up, right?
I don't know what that is.
Oh, they're the little disgusting things that are, remember a few years ago, the things that were all over the trees? Didn't you get those? Yeah. Maybe that was in New Jersey.
Aren't those like, oh no, I think that there's, I don't know. I think that's not a mass thing. But anyway, yeah, that's, if there's times, that's not great. But okay, now back, sorry, we've gone on another path here, but I did want to ask you, changing directions, but still in the vein of the Norfolk DA's office, and their race is heating up. And when I say heating up, I mean there are more people interested in this at this time than I think I've ever seen before, Mr. Bederow. It's incredible. I saw Christina Rex do actually very, very decent and good interviews with all of the candidates. And that was put out. Also, our own Emily C. did a interview with Adam Deitch, the first ever from even before Christina Rex. Emily C. got her interview. And also Law Girls Not Attorneys, they just did an interview with Dejuna Perkins. So this is moving. This is, at all times, I feel like a race that is going to be very impactful to the people of Norfolk County and to our state. And yet my feelings on it change all the time of how this thing is going to go, because I'm concerned that the old wheel may not be broken in some circumstances. What are your thoughts?
Blame the people who live there if that's true. They vote or don't, and ultimately they decide. And if somebody wins with 12%, because there's too many candidates, and they win by getting 47 votes, because it's relatively speaking not the largest place, and then you have to accept it. I mean, that's democracy. So I don't know. If the idea is, change, and you're either Morrissey or you're not. So, it's either like, it's Connor or not. The advantage that Connor has is there's one guy on that side of the pendulum.
Yeah.
On the other side, there are several people, at least two of whom appear to be, campaigning hard, if you will. I don't know about the rest. I mean, I've heard of a few of them, but I don't really know what they do or what they're doing. And they each seem to have their group of endorsements or whatever. So it's going to be splintered. And if the guy who has the whole side of the board to himself gets voted out, then, I don't know what the numbers are really. Then he would be in a good position, I would think, unless the people are just so overwhelmingly done, as they should be, with how things are in Norfolk. But again, the closest comp that I'm familiar with is Brooklyn. And in 2013, Hines was Morrissey. In the beginning, there were multiple candidates running against Hines. Now, it was Hines himself. It wasn't like, Connor running as the I'm still whatever. But as it went on, a guy named Ken Thompson kind of cleared the field, and the other people, coalesced around him. And then what happened is, in the general election, Ken Thompson blew Hines out of the water and ended the disaster that had been Brooklyn for the last decade or so. Hines didn't start out so bad, but he finished terrible. That doesn't seem to be happening here. And like Brooklyn, it's a Democratic primary that decides the election. I mean, the general election is essentially a formality. But there's none of that happening in Norfolk County. I mean, the two main challengers to Connor, if that's the right terminology, both, appear to be in full-throated, I'm going to win mode, and they're going to naturally take votes from each other. The question is just how many. I mean, to me, I think one of them seems clearly the stronger candidate, but I don't live there. They both have their endorsements and other things. So I don't know. I mean, I would think that the people supporting Connor feel good.
Actually, this is a really great question, and I didn't ever think of this. Is Carol says, if there's only one party candidates and it's a primary, can all parties vote? If it's only the party that and independent that decide, how would the party even have a vote? It might make a difference. So like when it is the Democratic primary, it's only Democrats that vote in that Democratic primary, correct?
It's state by state have different rules, and to be honest, I have no idea how Massachusetts does it. I'm going to assume, however they do it, it's the way that's different than most sensible places because Massachusetts.
Because
but I don't know how it works in Massachusetts. But either way, whatever it is, the fact of the matter is, if these two candidates are both credible and have some degree of solid support, then the only way that one of them can win is that if there really is that much disdain for the status quo. But I'm not sure there is. I don't, just because people go online and say, free Karen Reed and all that, it doesn't mean that the entire county thinks that everyone should be thrown out. I mean, I don't know. I think a lot of people do. But again, you have many, many candidates seeking that vote. And anyone and everyone who supports the way things are, they have one guy. They have a machine behind them. I mean, Morrissey has been a hack for 40 years with the machine behind him. It's no slight on Connor, but he benefits from that. I mean, clearly. He has those classic endorsements, and don't underestimate those government type endorsements. They roll it out better than anyone. They organize better than anyone. They coordinate voting. He has a lot of advantages in terms of just this classic machine politics and how campaigns work, even though he's never been a candidate himself. I mean, he's got the keys to the kingdom, right?
Yeah, he does. And the king, saying he's his successor. So that is a wild one. According to Massachusetts Secretary of State, every registered voter can vote in a primary election. You do not need to be a party member to participate, but your party registration may affect your ballot options. I don't know what that even means.
Again, you're probably wasting oxygen even trying to figure out Massachusetts election law. But again, it's going to be very interesting to see where the numbers slot up here. But the key to me is you have two people who neither one is willing to coalesce for the other. And I think that if this was a one-on-one type of situation, I think it's pretty clear that, one of those candidates of change, if that's the term, would win. At this point, I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know, but it's good to hear though. Like I like to always go back to history and seeing different similar things. And with the Hines DA, to see that the opposition won, correct, in that race. Like, blew them out of the water.
Because there was two choices: you're either with the Hines Brooklyn incompetence and corruption, or you're not. And that was an easy one-on-one choice. The only other comp that I can even think of, and it's not a corruption thing, but it was the 2016 Republican primary process where you had 10 or 12 candidates that were vying for the nomination, and each one was getting 2%, 3%, because there's so many, except for one guy named Trump, who had his core of 9 or 10%, who no matter what he did he even joked, I could go shoot people on Fifth Avenue and they'd vote for me. He had his core group no matter what. that were going to stick with him, whether you agree or disagree. And they did. And so that's why he won in a campaign of 12 people. And then he won the election one-on-one, but he had to get out of the primary first. And I think you're seeing, it's not an exact comp, but someone like Connor benefits from that because the opposition to him is fragmented.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that the future, and I think cases that matter to myself and to Lovey's and to all people in the Commonwealth, the United States and beyond, I think that the imperative nature of this race and what could be changed drastically.
I don't live in Norfolk County.
Yeah.
Vote there, and it you know, it ain't me, babe. It doesn't matter. But and I have nothing personal against Greg Connor, who by all accounts is a very skilled lawyer. He's obviously running and people have feelings, and that's fine. But having said that, and this is no personal slight at him, in my view, anyone who votes for him is crazy, only because you're basically endorsing business as usual and treating the Norfolk DA's office like a family business and thinking that it's a fully properly functioning office when it is the epitome of dysfunction. I mean, there are so many things wrong with that office. So many cases that have been mishandled, so many other problems with, political donations and other things. You could just go on. And it's really more voting against the culture, which needs to be regrown from, like, the seeds need to be planted from the bottom up. And look, there's only one guy who, at least to me, says all the right things that would give an encouragement that like they would change the process of how it works. So,
and hope and hope for things to not continue as business as usual. Like when you always say fumigated, that when you say starting from seedling again, I mean, it's like burn down the crop because you need to replant. It was that deep.
If you think that Morrissey was a bad DA or corrupt, as some people do, or just incompetent, or too many years in power where you just get lazy and, which breeds a different form of corruption, like complacency, which can lead to various forms of being asleep at the switch. If you think all of that office is bad, why in the hell?
Hello. Hello. Uh-oh. Am I gone?
Oh, hello.
Nope. Hi. If you think that office is corrupt, and then we went blank. Uh-oh. Hello. My gosh. Oh, Morrissey is in my Wi-Fi. This has happened to me before. Oh. Oh my.
We're back. Okay. So again, I don't know what you heard in here. I'm just saying, like, without even, it's nothing to do with Connor. He's a victim of circumstance. If you think the Norfolk DA's office is bad and you just want it to be different, why would you vote for the guy who's been there for 30 years and has the entire support of that office and its machinery? That's crazy to me.
Yep. Yeah. It just I don't know. I wouldn't have like warm and fuzzy feelings about it if I were there, and I wouldn't want to. All I can say is that, like, I wouldn't want someone in my family being a victim of a crime or being accused of a crime in Norfolk County at this point. Do you know what I'm saying? And that affects all of us, because although we may not live there, shit happens. Other people may have charges that don't live in Norfolk County and that have caught their charges and have to deal with that bullshit. Like, I don't want to perpetuate or to say that there is not fundamental issues. And Connor is part of those fundamental issues, because if you're not part of the solution, Mr. Bederow, you're part of the problem.
Well, yeah. And again, it's by default. I mean, you've been there for 20, 30 years, for the last 10 or 15 of which you've been the top guy. They're going to consult you on all these high profile cases, and look at these high profile cases. They've been a freaking disaster. Okay. What they did to Karen remains one of the biggest disgraces you'll ever see. What they did not do involving Sandra Birchmore, has not yet reached its conclusion, but by all accounts, they appear to have missed that on that one badly. I won't even get into the one involving, the ones that I'm directly involved in, but, I have a view, as most people do, about that. And there's been others. And there is such a crisis of public confidence, or lack thereof, in that office. I mean, there's a reason why it's become a national laughingstock of criminal justice. And that's not good. It's not good for the good prosecutors who actually bring good cases and try to do the right thing. It's not good for the good police officers who try to do the right thing. It's certainly not good for the good state troopers. I mean, where do you even begin with, what's happened to the state police there? But ultimately, if you live in that county, they'll decide. And if they vote for the status quo, then you get what you deserve, and that's on them. And if that's what they want, then, that's what it is. It's not worth any more or less than that. They vote, they decide. And if that's what they want, they're entitled to it.
Right. Absolutely. So, it is what it is. It will be what it will be. And I think that there is such value in seeing these candidates. And this was something that you and I had said umpteen times, Mr. Bederow. It was like, where are they? What is happening? Oh, I can't. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can. We're back.
You're back. So all I was just saying was that I think it's really important for us to be able to hear from them, the candidates, meaning, and to continue to put forward their message of what they hope to accomplish, because there was a significant period of time, Mr. Bederow, when we didn't hear from any of them. It was like, no one was doing debates. No one was answering questions. It was like, who are you? I've heard a snippet from you from, 4 months ago, but that's not telling me shit. So this at least feels like they're on a path to getting their messages out, telling us exactly who they are. And the more we see them, the more we'll know who they actually are. And then Norfolk County will decide.
That's America.
Couldn't be. Listen, that is it. That is it for today. When are you coming up? You're going to be here next week?
Yeah, we have court on July 20th. So that's, I want to say Monday, right? So I will be a week from today, shipping up to Boston, as they say.
Absolutely. Are you arguing? You can't tell me?
Sure. Yeah. It's no secret. Yeah.
Oh my God. So excited. Okay. All right. Well, on Monday, the 20th, you will be already shipped here in Boston. Oh, yes. Reminder, that is Boston. Is Aiden encouraging everyone to go? Does he want the human?
I would think so. I mean, it's a public proceeding. It's in Suffolk County, which is Boston, obviously. And I think it's 9 a.m. They start early there. I like that.
I like that too. Instead of those fucking two, God bless you and Attorney Bredel for saying those 2 o'clocks. I don't like that.
Yeah, no, I don't.
Hearing 2 o'clock in the afternoon. What are we doing?
No, I'd rather.
Yeah.
Morning is much preferred.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're a morning guy. We know this.
Morning guy.
Okay, very excited. I wish you a wonderful rest of your Sunday. Thank you so much for spending your time with me and with the Lovies. And tell Lola we love her. And I hope the family is doing wonderful. And I hope that I get to see you maybe not next Sunday because you're going to be busy getting up here to Boston, but maybe the Sunday after.
Okay. We'll talk.
All right. Thank you,
All right.
Mr. Bederow. Bye.
right.
Stop it. Why is he the best? He was just like, oh, I'm sorry. I was on a plane. Don't worry. I'm doing midnight flights from Georgia. No, from Southern California. Oh, will I hang out? Will I come to your house, talk all the shit? Yes. Duh. So thank you. Thank you to Mr. Bederow. Thank you to everyone who is not weird and understands that there is nuance in things and people have friendships and will always have friendships, and don't be weird. Don't perpetuate weirdness. And finally, I wanted to say thank you very much to Amy Funeral Lady, and the girls from North Shore Nacho Night. We had a blast yesterday. And there was like a medium that came to Amy Funeral Lady's funeral parlor, and I was actually Veda. Okay, it happened. I was in My Girl, and we didn't do like embalming or anything like that, but a medium came and read a bunch of girls, and Nana Phyllis, like it was very powerful. And the ladies that were there were just incredible, strong, and like messages that you feel sometimes we need and that we don't get or that we didn't get in our lives. It's powerful and it's profound. So thank you for her for hosting that. And I hope that maybe she does it again. And if she ever does, I'd love to join. And finally, babes, because it's Sunday service, and although it was not at 8 a.m., and I'm sure you've gone to mass and you've done all the things because you're the smartest and the prettiest to ever do it, I just wanted to read you a little poem, not a poem. I guess it's going to be our prayer for the day. It is Sunday, July 12th, 2026. Dear God, prepare me for the week ahead. Strengthen my mind, steady my emotions, and align my steps with your will. Help me to rise above every challenge, distraction, or pressure that comes my way. Teach me how to make meaningful progress every single day of this week. I place Monday in your hands and ask for your blessing over my work and decisions. On Tuesday, I ask for your healing in every area where I need restoration and peace. On Wednesday, fill me with wisdom to think clearly and choose rightly. On Thursday, I believe for breakthroughs in areas I have been waiting. On Friday, let me end the week in celebration and gratitude for your goodness. Help me to keep you involved in everything concerning me, both big and small. Take my hand, Lord, and walk with me through this week. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, lovies. I love everything about you. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Have a good Sunday. Bye.